The fact that one judge gave me 2 rounds is laughable. No disrespect, but the Fury fight, me and Jake need to run that back.
What's up, guys? Derek, moreplates.com. Today we're going to be talking about the results of the Tyron Woodley Jake Paul fight. Some people shocked, some people not. Some people had that as their expected outcome. I'm going to give my thoughts on it, kind of who I thought won and what I think happened, because there is a lot of I don't know how, if people are just saying, Tyron won by a split decision because they don't want to see Jake Paul win, or if they actually believe that. But I was kind of surprised personally, to be honest, to see it be the one judge who favored Woodley pretty substantially. Like, for me, that seemed like I don't even know how, to be honest. Like, he was obviously had the potential to win, in my opinion. Like, he has the skill set. He seems blatantly more athletic than Paul, despite being almost 40 years old. Like, you can just see the spring in his step. The guy just has what it takes, I think, to have, like, obviously he has what it takes. He's a fucking former welterweight champion, but just something about his I don't know, inability to capitalize in the past, however many years of his career, it seemed to kind of bleed into this fight too. Like, the guy is very kind of like, not timid, but just like very, I don't know, like hesitant to push the pace, even though that is ultimately what I think a lot of people would speculate would be the best strategy against Paul, is to close the distance, get in there and, fuck him up. Like, the guy has the knockout ability, and, to be honest, Jake has definitely proved a lot of people wrong in this fight. He definitely showed that he is a very skillful fighter. He has, good technical abilities, way above and beyond what he could have done even a couple of years ago. And it kind of, again, calls into question how significant of an impact did PEDs potentially have on his performance in terms of skill acquisition, motor unit recruitment, reinforcing motor learning. This kind of shit is stuff that's going to be enhanced to, super physiological capacities when you're using exogenous hormones. And again, no testing was deployed prior to the fight. Even if there is fight night, post-night testing, doesn't mean fucking anything at the end of the day. Any kind of abilities you've gathered throughout your off season, any kind of myonuclei you banked up, any kind of hematology you've inflated as a result of any kind of blood building phlebotic, precursors and whatnot, all that shit is going to carry over into the fight and will be undetectable on fight night if you're getting drug tested. So again, with Woodley, like, to be honest, if he is so concerned with Paul being on PEDs, I'm surprised he didn't push harder for more elaborate drug testing. He was just like, willy-nilly, like, you're on shit, but let's not test you. Even though I guess from that, he almost didn't take Paul seriously enough. If he really thought he was on PEDs and was going to have some sort of, significant impact on the outcome of the fight, you would imagine he would have pushed harder for, more elaborate drug testing, preceding the fight. But instead, they had very not even half-assed, just fucking non-existent drug testing entirely. Paul wins, edges him out, and pretty, I think most people would, be on the side of it was a pretty obvious decision, Like, I don't think it was that, objectively, split down the middle in terms of, even not just from the judges' perspectives, but just from the layman watching the fight. Now again, the layman watching the fight, even me watching the fight, is my opinion anywhere near what the judges are saying, like, obviously fucking not. I'm not a boxing judge, and frankly, I don't really watch boxing that frequently, except for some of these, ridiculous super fights that are being set up. But it seems like most people, were definitely on board with the fact that Jake Paul won. It was kind of an odd thing that Tyron was saying. He was so, was he confident that he won? Like, he seems to be, pretty annoyed at the fact that he didn't win via split decision, and seemed pretty convinced during the post-fight interview that he had edged out Paul, which, to me, based on him knocking him down one time potentially, a couple other good shots he got in, doesn't really outweigh all of the other shit that Paul did that, definitely dismantled him in some capacity. Like, maybe not, totally, eviscerated him, but like definitely, put on a little bit of a clinic in terms of, touching him up throughout the fight. He didn't knock him out. He didn't have, but he had some fucking massive shots, dude. And, Tyron obviously has a ridiculous chin to take some of those shots. But I mean, like, to me, it seemed like it was a pretty, Jake handily won the fight. Maybe he was in trouble a couple times, but ultimately, pretty obvious choice, in my opinion. Going to Twitter, I was interested to see what some of the opinions of, like, frankly, Twitter is like a skewing, like, adult audience more so. And I wouldn't necessarily say it's a more mature audience, but it definitely skews older. So I would think the majority of any individuals who are thinking Tyron won would be, present on Twitter rather than, in the YouTube comment section, the YouTube chats and shit, or on Instagram. So I went to Twitter to see, of course, in boxing, Jake Paul versus Tyron Woodley is trending. Showtime boxing thread, Paul Woodley official scorecards. Do you agree with the judges? And let's see what the comments say. I haven't read these ahead of time. Scam, all of it. You best believe I never watching another Jake Paul, Logan Paul fight again. Fucking split decisions, horrible waste of time and money. Thankfully, I didn't spend a dime this time. What the fuck? Jake Paul got knocked down by a 39-year-old MMA fighter on a losing streak. Ain't nothing convincing me Paul isn't gonna get knocked the fuck out by a real boxer. This is like totally avoiding the fucking answering the question. There's a mystery point added to Jake Paul on Dana's scorecard. Anyone else notice this? It was supposed to be 78-74. LOL. That wouldn't make a difference either way. Hate to say it, but Jake Paul did win the fight. Jake was running scared all fight. Woodley won that match. He got points as he was playing in his hometown. Rope saved Jake. Would have got knocked out. Boxing glove emoji. Didn't even know you could do that. Wow. Watch some boxing, lad. AJ did the same thing to Ruiz and got all his belts back. Boxing isn't supposed to be chaotic at all times. There is IQ in different setups throughout the fight. The ropes did save him from at least a 10-8 round, but saying he was running, nonsense. The fight was not close. Woodley won one round or two if you are generous. What is happening to these judges? Bro got rocked by a retired MMA fighter and he wanted to fight Gervonta. All right, let's see what else. Bleacher Report. Jake Paul beats Tyron Woodley via split decision. Luke Thomas. Judges 77-75 Paul, 77-75 Woodley, 78-74 Paul. Jake Paul defeats Tyron Woodley via split decision. Let's see what the thread says. Don't understand that judging, but I'm guessing forward pressure played a role even when effective volume didn't. Right guy won. Yeah, I agree. That's exactly what I think. It's time for Paul to fight a real boxer, not these washed up UFC fighters and amateur boxers. You only say this because he lost. Time to fight a real boxer now, not somebody making their pro boxing debut or a YouTuber and basketball player. Whoever scored at 77-75 Woodley needs to never ref a boxing fight again, Jesus Christ. Whoever scored at 78-74 Paul should never LOL. Paul zero control time. Woodley controlled where the fight went and when it went there. Woodley had a knockdown they didn't call too. It's like, how many times can you really say the guy got knocked into the ropes one time, so therefore he like won the whole fucking thing? I don't know, man. Like Woodley, despite being like pushing forward, it doesn't seem like he really like controlled the pace of the fight necessarily. Like the guy is, I don't know, it's just like a semblance of what he once was in terms of his, the pressure he puts on guys, the ability to really, just the willingness to capitalize and really try and, fucking nuke a guy. He doesn't really take a lot of risks. It seems like he's really like, playing the counter striker angle despite, even like stepping forward. It's not like he's really like making any moves that are substantial other than the fact that you're pacing forward. And like, as far as I know, you shouldn't be getting points for fucking, walking forwards if you're not actually connecting with the guy. So I don't know. To me, it seemed like it was definitely a Paul win. I don't think that Woodley got robbed at all. I think some of the people are just trying to avoid giving Jake Paul the props, and which is, honestly an expected outcome considering, how much scammy shit Jake Paul's done in his years, selling bullshit courses, bullshit products, complete just nonsense over the years. The amount of stuff he's done is just like, you can't even count it, to be honest. You can't even remember all the ridiculous shit over the years. But ultimately, just objectively looking at this from a fighter angle and like taking personal, emotional, fucking opinions aside of what this guy's character is like, straight up on the fight, like I definitely think Paul won it. And I think this definitely reinforces his credibility as a real fighter, or at least in these, arranged, like, interesting fucking social media derived fights. He's definitely I think some of the guys on his hit list he could hold his own against, like Tommy Fury. Like I think that would be not even as difficult of a fight potentially. Like some of the guys on his hit list I definitely think are viable options, not necessarily potentially even like smart money-making fights at this point though, because I think some of them wouldn't really be that much of a challenge or bring as much of a draw as some of the shit he could potentially, you know, leverage given this performance against Woodley. Like, it was a pretty dominant victory in my opinion. And should be interesting to see where it goes. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Who do you think won? Do you think it was fairly called? Do you think that Woodley deserved to win? What do you think about the fucking terms on the rematch? We will get into in a separate video, which is absolutely absurd. But yeah, all the comments help the algorithm. They're much appreciated. Like, subscribe. Check out my blog, moreplacemordates.com. Follow me on Instagram at moreplacemordates, Facebook, Snapchat, Twitter, TikTok, Apple Podcasts. If you want to support the channel, you can check out anything I'm associated with in the video description below. My TRT clinic, all telemedicine from the comfort of your own home. Get high quality oversight from doctors who understand how to interpret endocrinology, biomarkers, what kind of diagnostics you should be getting in the first place. All of the information is the same quality I try to put out on my channel on a regular basis, and I vet our doctors myself to ensure that we are putting out the highest quality care possible for our patients. And you can expect people who actually give a shit about you, who are not going to just throw you on medications for the sake of making a markup on farm. Rather, they are looking out for your health and well-being and vitality, regardless if you're natural or you're a guy seeking HRT or currently on HRT. We don't make our markups on medications for the substantial majority of our revenue, rather than other HRT clinics who really are just cookie cutter testosterone mills. Not all of them, but some of them are definitely right now. We pride ourselves on the fact that our revenue is mainly derived from the lab work and high quality interpretation / education and diagnostics, and high quality medical oversight from our doctors. So check that out if you want to get high quality medical care, which is fucking hard to find, believe it or not, unfortunately. As well, Gorilla Mind, nootropic formulas, Gorilla Moda, pre-workout formulas. I designed myself from scratch, my recommended diet model for gaining muscle, as well as being mindful of sports performance, gut health, sleep hygiene, even boiling down to things like electrolyte intake, things that are commonly neglected, micronutrient density, shit that most cookie cutter influencer diets will not address whatsoever. This is an actual athletics-based diet, a sports performance-based diet, not just for bodybuilding, although it will succeed in that avenue as well. It's pretty much for maxed out strength / muscle accrual whilst being mindful of actual health practices simultaneously. So you can check that out, as well as anything else I'm associated with, all in the video description below. Thank you guys for watching. Talk to you soon.